Bienvenue à vous tous au CLV et à notre conférence 2015 qui marque d'une part la fin du programme en cours, Apprendre par les langues, et d'autre part le lancement de notre nouveau programme, Langue au cœur de l'apprentissage, sans oublier bien sûr les 20 ans du centre. Je voudrais tout particulièrement souhaiter la bienvenue à nos points de contact nationaux. 29 des 33 États membres sont représentés ici aujourd'hui, ce que nous considérons comme un signe extrêmement positif et encourageant. Bienvenue également à tous nos coordinateurs et toutes nos coordinatrices de projets, aux coordinateurs et coordinatrices d'activités de formation et de conseil, à nos consultants de programmes. Hannah? Marissa et Franck est là, merci. Aux représentants du Forum pour le réseau professionnel et à nos invités venus de la Russie, de Géorgie et des États-Unis. Une conférence vraiment internationale. Et bienvenue aussi à toutes les personnes qui nous suivent en ligne. Nous sommes ravis de pouvoir vous réunir pour cet événement de 2 jours qui s'annonce passionnant. Ici, dans nos murs, auront lieu des ateliers pratiques et une exposition relative aux activités de formation et conseil. Et cet après-midi, nous rejoindrons le cadre magnifique du Mehrscheinschlüssel pour une table ronde interactive, des allocutions de conférenciers prestigieux, une exposition de nos publications et le tout sera suivi d'une réception à l'aimable invitation du ministère autrichien de l'Éducation et des droits des femmes. And now I'm going to change to English, the other official language of the Council of Europe. Throughout these next 2 days, both languages will be used, English and French. You will also hear some German, I'm sure. So please enjoy this bilingual experience and feel free to express yourself in whichever language you feel most comfortable in. This is the time for me to do some housekeeping. And I'm afraid I have to announce already a small change in the programme. One of our speakers, Lorraine Leeson, who was due to do her presentation this morning, is unfortunately stuck in Frankfurt Airport. We hope she will come this afternoon, but that means obviously there will be no presentation this morning. So in your packs you should have the programme with all the timings. And after this introductory session, there was supposed to be the presentation of the ProSign project. That will now not happen, so we will move into workshops 10 minutes early. So instead of 9:50, we will move into our workshops at 9:40. No, 9:30. 9:30. Susanna's keeping me right here. At 9:30. So that first workshop will finish at 10:30. Coffee will then be from 10:30 until 11, and then we will move into the second workshop. All this means is that you will reach lunch a little bit earlier than you had expected, and that's never a bad thing. It also gives you a little bit more time because lunch, of course, you need to be ready and on the bus at 2:30 outside the Hotel Weitzer to take you to the Mehrscheinschlüssel. Okay, is that all right for everyone? So apologies for this change, but poor Lorraine has been doing her very best to get here, and the weather has unfortunately intervened. So, 1 or 2 other practical aspects of the programme. Project coordinators or team members representing the projects, we would like to make a video of you. So if that has not been done already, we need you tomorrow between 8:30 and lunchtime. There will be slots for you, and this is the man to speak to. Book a slot, and you will go up to the resource centre, and a short video will be made of you. So please, if you haven't already spoken to Michael about this, try and find a time to do so. Excuse me. How have we organised the conference? You'll see that we've grouped projects together. Now, that wasn't an easy task because, as we say, there's many ways to cut a cake. We could have organised it differently. Why? Because all of our projects interrelate. There were ways to put them all together and see synergies between them. But in the end, some of the choices were to do with practicalities, such as language, for example. So we've grouped them, and we hope that you will enjoy the experience of not just a series of isolated projects, but projects that interrelate and link to one another. And you may be wondering, why did we not just have one session in here after another? And you could have sat here all this morning, all day tomorrow, and we didn't need to send you running around to workshop rooms. Well, it wasn't just to be difficult. It's because we genuinely believe that in the plenary, it's much more difficult to have a workshop atmosphere. And if you go into a smaller room, you're much more likely to be able to contribute to the discussion. You might feel more comfortable talking about something that's happening in your country. So what we would like to do is reserve the plenary when we move into workshop mode for 15 people only, and the rest of you will move into the workshop rooms. The other reason for doing this is that, as you know, this is being streamed live. So the filming will only take place in the plenary, and again that means the workshop notion is a little bit more difficult. You need to kind of film one speaker at a time. So that's the reason for the workshops, and we would ask you to think, if you've been in the same room twice for a workshop, something's wrong. You should be changing rooms every time to keep you young and fit, and to keep you interactive and contributing to the discussion. And it's also a lovely way to guarantee that you'll meet new people. So please help us logistically with that and move around from room to room at the different workshops. In your workshops, we will be asking you to contribute, to talk about the product, how relevant it is in your context, how you might take it home and apply it. And we will be picking up on some of those examples for tomorrow's session in the afternoon. We will have one of our consultants and Susanna in each of the workshop rooms, and that's simply to keep time and to take note of any key messages for the plenary session on Friday. So that's really all I have to say in terms of the organisation of the workshops. And of course, for our national contact points, you know that we organise an event for you every 2 years. So this is a nice opportunity for you to meet your other contact points and to talk to them in the workshops and in the breaks. Tomorrow morning, we have the Training and Consultancy Fair. Susanna will introduce training and consultancy, and then you will be able to go and talk to the coordinators of the 10 training and consultancy offers from our new programme. So that should be a busy and an exciting time tomorrow. Okay, so I think that's all I have to say in terms of logistics. Susanna, have I forgotten anything? No? Of course, it says on my notes here I'm going to hand over to Lorraine, but of course I'm not going to hand over to Lorraine. So what I would ask you to do is to take into account that in the plenary there is interpretation. Okay? In the workshop rooms there is no interpretation, but all of the people presenting are able to switch languages if necessary. There will always be someone in the room who can mediate as well between English and French. So please don't feel that you need to have the headphones. You can go into the workshop rooms and you will be supported by other experts and colleagues from the ECML. So we're ready to begin. The work begins now. So the first workshop, and I think probably we're actually ahead of time, and that's fine. Workshop 1. Is everyone clear about the different workshops from the plan? So if we look across, In the plenary, we have Plurimobile, our project on mobility, making mobility experiences really meaningful. We have Maledive, looking at the language of schooling, and we have Karap national networks. How do you diffuse Karap across the different member states? In room 1, we have More Dots, which of course started as a project and then evolved into a training and consultancy activity. And the More Dots coordinator, Martina, is here, will tell you all about the new inventory that they have produced as a result of this project. We also have Language for Work, which is about supporting professionals teaching teaching the language of the host country as a second language to migrants or ethnic minorities in a work-related context. In room 2, we have language descriptors, and that's very much about what is the level needed in the language of schooling for young people to succeed, both at the beginning of secondary school and before and at the end of compulsory secondary school. We have CLIL and pluriliteracies. How do you take the traditional approaches of CLIL and make sure that there's real depth both in language learning and in subject learning, and use that approach to learn any language, including developing skills in your mother tongue. We have Plurcore. How do you make sure that actually it's a whole school approach to holistic language learning? How do you involve senior management? How do you involve parents? And how do you make it work, not just relying on the goodwill of individual teachers? And the last workshop, last but not least, in room 4, we have Pepelino, which is a project to support teachers in the pre-primary sector, teachers, educators, professionals working in that sector. How do they ensure that they give all the positive signals to children coming into their nursery schools from different backgrounds, different cultures, and support their linguistic development? We have the Parents Project, which, as the name suggests, is all about bringing parents into schools and making them part of this progress of children's development. And we have Community, which goes beyond the school into the community, the libraries, parents, community centres. How do all of these people come together to support a child's linguistic and cultural development? So, on that note, I'm going to ask my consultants and Susanna to accompany the different groups. And can I just reiterate, if possible, if approximately 15 people stay in the plenary, it means we'll have an even distribution of numbers in our workshop rooms. Are there any questions about the logistics?
If you have a look again at the program and you've realized that the timing has changed slightly, we will go into coffee break right after the first workshop. That means we have coffee from 10:30 to 11, and then back we split again into workshops as of 11:10, and that's then again back into in the program. That again fits the program as you have it. Okay, looking forward to see you in the workshops.